Alrighty, guys. So we are in activity 1.5, and this is going to be demo for 1.5c. Okay, so this is the last part. I'm going to go ahead and just fold mine in half so you guys can like see. Maybe I'll just fold it here. Okay, so there's room for me to get here. Okay, so far we've done boxes. And we talked about landscapes in 1 point perspective. And now we're going to talk about 3D block letters. This is a good skill to have if you ever want. We're going to format it similar to the boxes where we don't need a horizon line necessarily. We're not making a landscape. I guess you could include one if you want to, but we really just need a vanishing point. That's going to be super important. So I'm going to go ahead and put my vanishing point here. Okay. And from here, I'm just going to start creating a block letter. Okay, so block letters you can kind of do however you want, but let's say, for example, I do the letter E. I'm going to go ahead and use my straight edge for the sides and the bottom. And block letters are sort of a skill in and of themselves, so I'm going to go ahead and just draw this line lightly because I know I'm going to erase parts. Generally, when it comes to block letters, they start from a block. Okay, so you can kind of then start imagining like, well, what do I not need? And you can kind of sketch that in here. Like, what am I going to get rid of type deal. Okay, so something like that would be a nice letter E, right? So I'm going to go ahead and erase the extras that I don't need. And then I can finalize with my straight edge. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw this really quick for you guys. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing down here. And I'm going to get my straight edges in here. The more you use your straight edge, the better you're going to feel about your drawing because it'll be nice and neat. Okay. So there's my letter E. It's not perfect, but it's good for practice. And if you're really feeling intimidated by this process, I would suggest just copying off of me for this. Like, just try to do the letter I'm doing. But in the next stage, you can definitely try one of your own. What you want to do is picture this like a box, but in addition to the box, we have sort of edges here and corners, right, that weren't there before. So what you want to do is take every corner and ask yourself, does it need to go to the point? So if you're not crossing over a front surface of the letter, meaning like this surface here, then it should go back to the point. Again, draw lightly when you're doing your perspective lines because you're going to erase some of them away. The other thing is you'll notice I'm making sure that my line is connecting from the corner to the point. I'm going to just bring this up a little bit for you guys. So I've got my corner to the point. And again, I'm going to just draw, like that. Okay, this one is my corner to the point. I'm going to match it up again from my corner to the point. And I'll do this one, this one, and this one from my corner over here to the point. You're going to see this is already starting to look three-dimensional. I'm missing one in here. This one I don't need, but I need that one there. So I'm going to go ahead and get that one in. So always double check and just make sure that you have what you need. Alrighty. So that's the first stage. The next stage is figuring out where you want your letter to end. And this can be a little bit tricky, but you're going to see sort of a front surface here and then a back surface that's going back. Front surface, back. Front surface, back. Okay, so I'm going to decide where I want my letter to end. I'm going to go ahead. These are of equal lengths, so I'm going to do the same thing here. Between these two lines, I'm going to end this shape, and then between these two lines, I'm going to go ahead and end this one. The other thing I notice is that this surface ends a little bit inward from the relationship here, right? So I'm going to do the same thing here. Wherever this one ends, I'm going to come over and just create a straight line. From there, it's all about just erasing the extras and figuring out where the rest of your letter, like what else do you need? So I've got a horizontal line I need here. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can draw that in. So when it comes to letters, it really is kind of tricky, but it's a fun skill to have. I see there's a line here that I need from this corner over. You're going to have some overlapping going on. And you want to make sure your horizontal lines stay nice and straight. Alrighty. So now you can see, I'm going to shade this really quick. You don't have to shade yours, but I just want you guys to see what I'm talking about. I've got this side of my E that's going back in space, right? And I'm going to just slightly shade this side so you guys can see what I mean. Okay. This side can be dark. And this is the back surface of this vertical side, or the side surface, I should say. So right there, I have a nice three-dimensional E. If you have curves in a letter, okay, so let's say you have a letter S. I'm just going to freehand this a little bit here. And if you struggle with block letters, always start with the skeleton first. Like I can draw my S, and then I can kind of draw around the S, keeping the outside of my letter that I draw of equal distance from that skeleton. So I'm going to come out this way, and then I'm going to draw the inside as well. So I started with my skeleton, and that works for all letters, really, if you just start with your skeleton. Okay, so let's say I have my letter S. I'm going to use the curves as the edge, quote unquote, of my letter. So my curve here is the end of my S. I'm going to do the same thing up here. So wherever my straight edge meets the point and the edge of the shape. And down here I've got a corner, so I can go ahead and do that one. And this doesn't meet because it's underneath this part. I'm going to go ahead and do this corner here. And I might have, it looks like pretty good there. I don't know if I'll see any of this either. Maybe a smidge of this. Okay. Now the question is, well, how do I make this look more three-dimensional? Because right now it looks like a train wreck. Well, you have to end the shape, remember. When it comes to ending curves in letters, you want to always match the curve that you see between the two lines. So here's my two perspective lines, right? And between that, I see this much of the curve. So I'm going to go ahead and match that up. Now this distance is sort of set for me, so I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that down here. Right? So this distance should be the same as this. And then I'm going to mimic this curve also. Okay. So now as I erase the extras, I've got a 3D letter S. It still looks a little scary, but you could definitely clean it up. Perspective has a lot when it comes to like drafting and erasing and cleaning up. So you can see here, I've got this surface, and one there. Okay, so you could try out a couple more letters if you want, but I would definitely try out these two just so you have them. But, you know, like you could do a little M, any letter you want really, a T. And again, if you're struggling with block letters, just, you know, start with a skeleton and then build off of that. Okay, so like this would be an N. It happens pretty easily like that. Okay, so that is drawing 3D block letters in 1-point perspective.